to spatchcock or not to spatchcock? That is the question. I've seen a lot of love for spatchcocking out there, and some justifications of why it makes sense. But as far as I can find, nobody has actually tested this question. Until now. This is MinuteFood. Okay, so I am about to throw a lot of temperatures at you. And I know we have a lot of Celsius users here, but we have more Fahrenheit users. So I'm going to use that as the default, and we'll do on-screen Celsius equivalents. You can yell at me about it in the comments. Anyway, spatchcocking involves cutting the backbone out of a raw whole bird. Chicken, turkey, whatever, in order to basically flatten it. It's also known as butterflying. But who's going to choose that over being able to repeatedly say spatchcock? Not me. For all you word nerds, spatchcock is probably an abbreviation of dispatch the cock, which is an old, maybe Irish, term for killing, cleaning, and splitting a bird. After a few hundred years, spatchcocking is experiencing a renaissance. That's because, at least according to its devotees, it solves a fundamental problem with roasting a whole bird. See, dark meat contains tons of connective tissue that require tons of heat to break down properly. So it's most delicious when it's cooked to about 175 Fahrenheit, or even higher. America's Test Kitchen recommends 195 Fahrenheit. White meat, though, is lean muscle fibers, which are prone to drying out, so it's best when cooked to a much lower temperature. The USDA recommended temp is 165 Fahrenheit. But, and you can watch our previous video for more on this, it is perfectly safe to cook chicken to an even lower temperature, as long as you hold it at that temperature for longer. And white meat is way more juicy and delicious when it's closer to 150 Fahrenheit. In other words, for optimum deliciousness, you have to cook this single bird-shaped bundle to two very different temperatures. What's more, because of how the bundle is built, the white meat, the part you want to cook the least, is way up here, exposed to all the oven's heat, while the legs, which you want to cook to a higher temperature, are way down here, shielded from a lot of that heat. So, at least theoretically, the breasts will cook faster than the legs, which is the exact opposite of what you want. According to spatchcockers, is that a word?
You know what? It is now.
Anyway, the idea is that by flattening the whole bird bundle out, you can even out the rates at which different parts cook. In fact, since the legs are now on the outside and the breast is more protected, the dark meat will receive more heat than the white meat, helping it reach a nice high temperature before the breast overcooks. At least that's the idea, anyway. I have combed through all the nerdy kitchen science resources I know of, and I can't find one single empirical test that actually shows this is the case. Plus, spatchcocking has some downsides. You've got to have a big enough spot to do it in. You have to have a little bit of knowledge and the basic skills to do it. And you have to clean up afterwards, which, depending on your level of skill, can be anywhere between not that big a deal and a total nightmare. Not to mention that spatchcocking also messes up the Rockwell-esque appeal of a whole bird. So I can't help but wonder whether spatchcocking is worth it. Like how effective it actually is in helping you get the dark meat cooked before the white meat overcooks. So I rounded up some test subjects. I went with chickens since that would be a lot of turkey. The first, I spatchcocked. Yes, I know I need new kitchen shears, which you are welcome to help me out with, hint hint. The second one I left whole and untrussed. Remember, I was going for simplicity here. I put these handy temperature probes in the breast and thigh of each chicken, and I roasted each one at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, a temperature which a lot of recipes recommend for both spatchcocked and whole chickens. Then I sat back and watched what happened. I chose 175 Fahrenheit as my target temp for the thigh, and 150 Fahrenheit for the breast. Remember, the hypothesis is that spatchcocking will help the different parts of the bird reach their individual target temperatures at about the same time. Or even that the dark meat will reach its target first and get extra time to get extra tender. Okay, so in my spatchcocked bird, the thigh took 48 minutes to reach its target, and the breast took 51 minutes. The dark meat beat the white meat by about 3 minutes. Things were looking good for spatchcocking. Except that in the whole bird, basically the control, the thigh also reached its target before the breast. This time by a whole 19 minutes. The thigh of the whole bird actually cooked in about the same amount of time as the thigh of the spatchcocked bird. The real difference was the breast. Cooking the bird whole actually slowed down the rate at which the breast cooked. Exactly the opposite of what the rationale for spatchcocking suggests. I'm not totally sure why this would be the case, I checked out the ambient temperatures at each part of the bird, which these probes also measured, and as expected, spatchcocking did expose the breast and thigh to more even amounts of heat than roasting it whole, at least as far as the outside of the bird. My best guess is that the big empty cavity inside a whole bird serves as an insulator for the breast. Putting aside the explanation, the result was that in the whole bird, the thigh had tons of extra time to cook and break down all that connective tissue. By the time the breast reached 150 Fahrenheit, the thigh had reached 196 Fahrenheit, which is almost exactly what America's Test Kitchen suggests you cook dark meat to. I wondered whether things would be different if I'd cooked the whole bird at a lower temperature. So I got another chicken, probed it up, and roasted it at 375. And again, the thigh reached its target temperature before the breast did, although only by about 5 minutes this time. So in every single chicken I roasted, the dark meat cooked through before the white meat did. Exactly what you want. The difference was actually the largest in the whole birds. So if you like spatchcocking, if your birds seem to come out better that way, or if you're a fan of the quicker cook time, or the fact that all the skin comes out really crispy, keep on with your spatchcocking self. But I'm just not convinced that there's actually a problem with roasting a bird whole. I think the real problem, the thing that's responsible for so much of the tough, dry white meat out there, is that so many people are cooking it to 165 Fahrenheit. It's just too high. Again, if you want to learn more about how to safely cook poultry to lower temperatures, go watch this video. It'll change your cooking game, whether you want to spatch your cock or not. All the awesome data for this video came from this, the 𝗃𝗱 Gold Dual. And yes, this video is sponsored, but honestly, I have been so impressed with this thing. Basically, you put the probes in your meat, you set up your cook, and you put the whole thing in the oven, grill, sous vide, deep fryer, wherever. The probes are heat safe up to more than 900 Fahrenheit, and they're the highest waterproof grade, which also means they're dishwasher friendly. Each probe has 6 temperature sensors, 1 for the ambient temp and 5 for the meat itself. So it actually accounts for the variation throughout whatever you're cooking. And you can monitor the temperature either from the base unit or from an app. I've had a lot of trouble in the past with wireless thermometers losing their connection. So much that I was actually really skeptical of trying this one. But I've been using it for a while now, and it has never once dropped out. Apparently, since it uses sub-1G technology, it's stable up to 3,000 unobstructed feet. That's 10 football fields. Bluetooth just can't compete with that. Honestly, the 𝗃𝗱 Gold Dual has made cooking meat a total breeze. There is no more guesswork. And with the holidays coming up, it is the perfect gift for the food lovers in your life. And the best part? You can use code MinuteFood to get a 15% discount, either at 𝗃𝗱.com or on Amazon. Links are in the description.